Your brain is lying to you because it's trying to keep you safe. Okay, maybe it's not exactly lying to you, but it is over exaggerating the consequences of these imaginary scenarios that are going through your head. Imagine something that you want to do and imagine why don't you do them? Why don't you go for the thing that you want to do? It's because your brain is telling you it's too scary. It's too risky. Something bad is going to happen. And this is something I talked about in my last video, and I'm going to talk about it again here because I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be afraid to do things, to experience life. I don't know if when you guys were kids, were you that afraid of things? I know I was afraid of a fair amount of things. Like, I was afraid of scary movies. I was afraid of monsters. I was afraid of the dark sometimes. I would turn off the light in the bathroom and run down the dark hallway back to the living room. I mean, that's just natural kid stuff. But thinking back then, were you afraid to run really fast and trip? Were you thinking about tripping when you were running really fast? What about playing on the jungle gym or the swing set? Maybe back then you were just having so much fun. You didn't think about falling 6 feet from the top of the slide, or like what happens if the chain on the swing set snaps when you're at the height of the arc, right? But as I got older, I'm like, damn, that carnival ride is actually pretty dangerous. Maybe I shouldn't ride that carnival ride anymore. Or like, oh, wow, I'm like really high up on this platform and I should be careful or I'm going to fall and like break my neck. And it's a good thing to kind of have that alarm in your head because it's able to tell you, hey, this is kind of dangerous. You should be a little bit careful. But it's when you let that dictate all of the choices in your life to pick the safest option is when it really becomes a problem, because life has a lot of risks and there are a lot of rewards if you can take those risks. But if your brain is telling you that, hey, these risks are too scary, they're too scary, you're going to mess it up. You're going to mess it up. The risk is too great to bear. Then you're not going to go for the thing that you want because you think it's a little risky. And it's about reprogramming your brain to realize that the risks that you're thinking about taking are not life-threatening. Even if you may embarrass yourself, even if it may set you back somehow, some way, it's not going to kill you unless the risk you're thinking about taking is like base jumping or something. That might kill you. I'm just talking about random, smaller, risky things that can be risky, but it's not going to be the end of the world, right? It's, trying to apply for a better job, one that you don't think you're that qualified for, but you feel like you could probably learn it, right? It's risky because if you get an interview and they ask you stuff that you don't know about, then you'll probably be outed as someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. But that's not going to be the end of the world. At least you tried, at least you experienced it, and at least you kind of know what to expect. If you decide to apply for a similar position in the future, you can then study and figure out, okay, what went wrong in the last one and what can I do right in the next one? It's kind of crazy how sometimes I forget I'm a human with free will because my fears and my anxiety and the fact that I feel like I'm just living on autopilot most days because I do the same thing, which is wake up, go to work, come home, do some hobbies, eat dinner, and then go to sleep, right? It just feels like I'm not making many intentional different choices throughout my daily life until it hits the weekend. But even my weekends are like 50% to 80% the same weekend every weekend. I go grocery shopping, I meal prep, I exercise. Sometimes I hang out with friends and we go do different things, but usually I'm just kind of doing my own thing and kind of resetting my environment, my room, my car for the next work week. And then the work week repeats and then the weekend repeats. But sometimes you have to make choices and take those risks to really feel alive. And again, it's not like you're risking your life. It can be something simple as just like risking going to a new coffee shop that you never tried before, risking, getting a different meal instead of the favorite meal you always get. And maybe the new meal is going to be bad. maybe it's going to be pretty good. Maybe it'll be your new favorite meal. But you will never know unless you take the risk. And it's okay to be disappointed by things that you take risks on. Sometimes not every risk is worth it, but now at least you know. Now at least you've experienced something different. And if the meal is bad, then the next time you get your favorite meal, that favorite meal is just going to hit so much better. So I don't think your brain is exactly lying to you. I think it's just exaggerating. I think it's exaggerating. It's being very hyperbolic, if that's the correct way to use that word. It's making things seem worse than they really are. It makes the risk seem too big. It makes the consequence seem too big. And it makes it seem like, hey, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Stay on your safe path because it's the path that you know. And it's the path with the least amount of risk because you've done it so many times. But that, to me, at least, is a boring life. It's not that exciting. And sure, boring and stability can be completely acceptable. It can be very peaceful sometimes. And I enjoy my peace. I love the peace that sometimes monotony and the mundane can give me. I don't need to lead like a jet-setting, adrenaline-filled life, right? But something as simple as, hey, instead of going straight home, maybe I'll just go to the park and take a walk, right? And what is the risk in that? There's not much risk, but you could just be like, oh, maybe the risk is I'm going to go to the park. It's going to be busy. I'm not going to have a good time. And then I'm going to go home. And then I wish that I would have just went home in the first place. And now it's like nighttime and I don't have that much time to watch my favorite show and blah, 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 right? It's okay. It's okay, guys. It's okay if you take the small risk and get disappointed. At least you tried. And then heck, maybe that risk actually pays off. And you got to believe that the experience of whatever risk you're taking over the safe path is going to be worth it regardless of the outcome. Because just experiencing something different sometimes is worth the action you take. Because sometimes experiencing something different is completely worth it, even if it's not even the best experience. So I've been trying to reprogram my brain. I've been trying to tell it, hey, who cares? Who cares about the risk? Just take the risk. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that scary. There's not that much to be afraid of. Just take the risk. You'll learn, gain the confidence by doing the thing. Don't be afraid of possible consequences that are probably not even real. Make sure to like the video. Hopefully you don't get tricked by your brain. If you feel like you're getting tricked by your brain, try to reprogram your brain bit by bit. Try to tell your brain that it is not that serious. It's not that risky. It's not that deep. And do the thing anyway and practice this little by little as often as you can. And eventually your brain is just going to be like, okay, I trust you. I trust you to do risky things and be okay at the end of the day. And then maybe some things won't even be classified as a risk by that time. So thank you again for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.